Hold up. Before we get started with this makeup tutorial, I just wanted to personally come on here and let you guys know. I know that my hair looks like trash. It's fine because this is what I normally look like. On purpose, I did not do my hair. Enough of my PSA. Let's get started with the video. So this is what the end results are going to look like. So if you're interested in seeing how I did this beginner's makeup for dark-skinned women, keep watching.
That we're moisturizing. I use these face oil drops. I don't know. It won't focus.
Apply a few drops to your face and rub that in evenly all over. Next, I'm going to apply some Vaseline to my face as a makeup primer. I read somewhere when I was younger that Marilyn Monroe did this, so ever since I started doing makeup, I've been doing the same thing. Now I'm applying a red-orange concealer to cover up my 5 o'clock shadow. If you are a dark-skinned woman, you know what I mean when I say this. In certain lighting and in certain pictures, there would be a black overcast around your mouth area and under your eyes. This color is going to cancel out all of those tones. So after you apply your concealer, please let it dry. When you let concealer dry, you actually increase the coverage. So start doing that, girl. While that is drying, we're going to apply eyebrow gel because we're multitasking queens. After you apply, use your finger to mash in the extra product just to get it evenly through the whole eyebrow. Moving on to the red concealer, we are going to be buffing this out. I say buffing and not blending because we are not blending this in with our skin color. We are simply moving the product more around in the area that we want it to be. So I want this mainly around my mouth area, the corner of my nose, and underneath my eyes. So that's what I'm doing. I am placing the product more around there. Remember, not blending, just buffing. So at this point, you see how the redness is really splotchy? That's fine. That's how we want it to look. Not blended, but red. On to foundation. I like to use Fenty Beauty, Superstay by Maybelline, and L'Oreal True Match. For my everyday look, I just use the L'Oreal and the Superstay. I take a flat surface like this one and mix the two colors together with a brush like this. I do this step because I feel when you get a customized color, it's more true to your skin and it makes your makeup look better overall. Here, I'm just mixing the two colors together, more of the lighter one than the darker one. Remember that this is just foundation for your face, so don't get too heavy-handed when applying. I mix it with the brush, and whatever's left on the brush, I put that on my face because we are not wasteful. Next, I use the stippling foundation brush to apply the rest. Applying first in the areas that are red, so I'm applying it under my eye first, and then moving down to my mouth and chin area, applying only in these areas. And then I blend outwards with what's already on my face. I take what's left on that flat surface and apply that above my eyebrows. Apply the least amount of product above your eyebrows if you are a lace wearer like myself. Now moving on to blending. After we applied the product, we are going to blend in the order that we applied. So first under our eyes, moving downwards towards our jaw, and then onto the neck, and blend out the mouth area as well, continuing to move the foundation down the neck. This is going to give it that seamless look. After applying, I do like to take a sponge and just lightly dab around my whole face just to get rid of any demarcation lines that may have been created from the stippling brush. Now you have a seamless, even tone canvas that is ready to be painted on. I like to take off the extra foundation I may have got on my lips and moisturize them just to keep them pigmented. On to concealer. I like to use a concealer that is considerably lighter than my skin, and that is what I'm showing you in the video. It is very light compared to my skin color, but I like to use this type of tone because it forces me to use less of it. You'll see. So first I apply a vertical line down from the inner corner of my eye, and then I extend that line about a centimeter or two horizontally. You can see what I'm doing in the video, and then I extend the longest line closest to my eye. So now you kind of have an upside down half triangle shape, kind of. You see? No? Just keep watching. Now we are going to let that concealer dry. Remember what I said earlier about when you let it dry, you increase the coverage. So while that is drying, we're going to move on to our eyebrows. I like to use a dip brow type of formula. This is by Benefit. I'm just doing my eyebrows. I was really bad at trying to figure out the angles of recording this, so this is me just doing my eyebrows like normal. Then I do take the concealer and mix it in with my foundation color, and I apply a thin line under and above my eyebrow just to clean it up a little bit. You can see what I'm doing in the video. It's a thin line, not too much product, below and above. Do that on both eyebrows, please. Moving on to our concealer, we are going to start blending that out. I like to use a very specific technique, so just keep watching. First, we're going to soften up that line of demarcation between our concealer and our skin color. So this area underneath our inner eye, just dab, dab, dab. You're not moving the product, you're just softening up that line. And now this outer corner, what I am pointing at right now, we're going to start by blending that first. I blend by dabbing, 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 and slightly dragging the product to the outer corner of my eye. So see what I'm doing? I'm dabbing, 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 and moving it towards the outer corner of my eye. So that is what we're going to do. The product that's in our inner eye area, for the most part, we're just going to leave that alone. We're not really dragging that anywhere because we want it to stay the lightest right here. So we're just going to dab in that area, not really dragging it anywhere. We're going to repeat the same process on the other eye, remembering to first start by softening up that line underneath our inner eye and dragging that down. Moving on to buffing out this outer corner of the half triangle. See, dabbing, 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 and moving towards the outer corner of our eye. So now you see how it's very light in these spots right here. You're just going to keep dabbing until you reach the tone and the color that you like. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I just like to use my finger to buff out the concealer we put on our nose. So now you're going to blend, blend, blend to your liking. Moving on to the concealing powder, I like to use a brush like this that's fluffy but tightly packed. I also like to use two different powders when it comes to this together most of the time. The more expensive one is super light on my face, so I like to use less of it, while the drugstore one is a tad bit darker but doesn't last as long as this one. So by mixing this with the drugstore one, I'm increasing the time it'll last me. Also, using them together makes this one also stick longer and go on easier, right? I don't know. Here, I'm showing you how the darker one is still considerably lighter than my face, and the lighter one is obviously even lighter. Here's this side by side. They're both super light. I'm going to start by picking up the darker powder first, getting more of that, and just dabbing at the light powder. We don't want too much of that one. Blow it off and start by dabbing under the eye. Dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. We're not sweeping yet. We're just dabbing and getting the product on there. And I like to build only with the darker powder. So now I'm building and I'm dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. Once I feel all the product is off the brush, that is when I will begin to sweep and move everything into the spots and the areas where we applied the concealer. Dabbing and sweeping, dabbing and sweeping. Repeat the same process under the other eye, and you remember to only build with the darker concealer powder. We're building, everything's off, so now we're sweeping and dabbing, sweeping and dabbing. So at this point, I'm not necessarily building, I am more or less just lighting up my under eye area more. So I am going to dab into the lighter foundation color and just apply it, dab and sweeping. And then I'm going to move all of that product throughout the whole highlighted area. Moving on to my nose bridge, I will be taking the darker concealer powder and applying it there. Moving the excess product around the area of my mouth and adding a tad bit more for my chin area and blending that all out. The concealer above my eyebrow, I'm just going to buff that out with my finger, leaving what's underneath my eyebrow for later. Take my James Charles palette and apply my eyeshadow. I use this color and the one above it. I don't really record me doing my eyeshadow because I feel like, everyone knows how to apply eyeshadow. I will say when I mix two colors together, I do tend to use the lighter color to blend out the outer corner of the eyeshadow. So that's what I'm doing. I'm blending it out. And for the outer eye corner, I use my finger to blend it out. I know it's kind of like, what are you doing? But it works. And I drag what's ever left on the brush under my eye. Moving on to the contouring process, I take an angle contour brush and I use powder for most of my face. So I take the second to darkest powder, move the ashes off on my hand, and I apply it following my natural cheek, indentation in line. I apply just a tad bit. I feel like when you're dark skin, it's more forgiving. So yeah, this is why this is dark skin targeted. Blend that all out. If you feel like it's too strong, it's fine. For my nose, I do use liquid foundation. I use a small flat tip brush. I apply it following the natural line of my eyebrows, not all the way down, but you know, make it there. I feel like this gives your face a complete look, like it gives it that look. You know what I mean? Buff that out with your fingers like we did above the eyebrows. It works, trust me. Now off camera, I did go ahead and put my eyelashes on just because the angles would have been weird. Right about now, your makeup probably looks like this. You know, there's obvious spots of what is placed where. You can see the highlight underneath your eyebrows. It's fine. We're not done yet. Give us time. Now we're blending out the concealer under our eyebrows. You're not really moving it, just like swiping. Now it's time for my favorite part, blush. So I like to mix orange with the color we used on our eyeshadow. If you are dark skinned, I suggest you start mixing orange in with your blush. Trust me, you'll look good. So I apply it on the apples of my cheeks and I blend towards my nose. I would do this because I like to create a row of color, you see? So above this row is light for my concealer, color, and then dark for my foundation. I apply a tad bit more because you know you can never have too much. Make your kissy face, make those apples of your cheeks pop, and continue to blend inwards towards your nose like an anime character. You would do this next step if you don't bake. This is my everyday makeup. I don't bake with my everyday makeup. So I'm taking my sponge and getting some of my darker concealer powder and I'm applying it right under where my contour is. You see how I made my contour pop and kind of make the color for my blush pop? Yeah, so apply it on like your outer jaw and then, you know, blend it or mash it towards your mouth area and your chin area. I'm going to do the same thing again on the other side, applying it towards my outer jaw and then blending it down towards my chin and my lips. Now we're going to highlight. I use this rose gold peachy tone. I suggest you do too. Make sure you put it on the height of your cheekbone, and if someone looks at you straight on, like face straight on, they should not be able to see your highlight. Next, we're going to highlight our nose, and then we're going to highlight our cupid's bow as well. Now I like to take a gold color or like a silver type of color and I highlight the inner corner of my eye. I drag it down a little bit onto where I would put a little bit of eyeliner, but yeah, I like to highlight that area. Now I'm taking a powder foundation that is similar to my skin color and applying it all over just to get rid of any lines and to make everything look seamless. I did this part backwards. I'll show you guys the color afterwards, but yeah, I'm just blending it all over. Now I'm taking another highlighter that is basically white and applying it very lightly where I applied the other highlighter earlier, just to make sure that it comes through this powder foundation that I just applied. This time I do put it on the tip of my nose and I apply even more on my cupid's bow. Now I am just adding finishing touches, applying more red to my blush because blush is everything. Lastly, we're going to take the lighter of the two foundation powders and apply more of that underneath our under eye area just to lighten that up just a tad bit. Next, we're going to take our finishing spray and spray that all over. Then we're going to take the same sponge that we used earlier with our foundation and use that to match this product in with our foundation and with our blush and everything else, just to make sure that it actually is going to stick and make this last all day. Apply another layer, and then after it's fully dry, apply mascara. And here are the finished results. Our skin looks dewy. It looks like our skin, literally. Doesn't even look like we did much, but you and I both know we did a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching this makeup tutorial. Stay tuned for more.